Like the McCarthy-era witch hunts of the 1950s, your campaign of fear and repression is eating away at foundational values of our democracy. Back then, it took one voice, Attorney Joseph Welch, to cut through the hysteria with the simple question that marked the beginning of the end of that shameful era. He asked Senator McCarthy, have you no sense of decency? And I would ask you the same, Secretary Rubio. But you have shown through your words and your actions what the answer is. And I have to tell you directly and personally that I regret voting for you for Secretary of State.
He says, let me say this, I don't deport anybody, and I don't snatch anybody. The State Department does not have officers in the street snatching everybody. What I do is revoke visas. And it's very simple. A visa is not a right. It is a privilege. People apply for student visas to come into the United States and study. And if you tell me that you're coming to the United States to lead campus crusades, to take over libraries and try to burn down buildings and acts of violence, we're not going to give you a visa.
Is that what Ms. Ostork did?
We're not going to give you a visa.
Is that what she did? Come on, Mr. Secretary.
And every single one of these cases, the factors are different.
Senator,
the bottom line is, if you're coming here to stir up trouble on our campuses, we will deny you a visa. And if you have a visa and we find you, we will revoke it. And we're going to do more. There are more coming.
Have you ever watched a politician walk into a hearing thinking they had the upper hand, only to watch the entire conversation flip against them in seconds? Because that's exactly what happened here. Before we go any further, let me know where you're watching from and make sure you subscribe if you enjoy in-depth political breakdowns without the mainstream spin. Senator Chris Van Hollen came into this exchange swinging hard, comparing Secretary Marco Rubio's actions to one of the most controversial periods in American political history. It was clearly meant to put Rubio on the defensive, but instead of backing down or getting rattled, Rubio fired back with a response that immediately changed the energy in the room. What stood out wasn't just the comeback itself, it was the confidence behind it. Rubio looked completely unfazed as he turned criticism into an argument that he was doing exactly what he was appointed to do. You could almost feel the frustration building as the hearing shifted from personal attacks to a debate over policy, spending, and government priorities. And that's where things got interesting. Because whether you agree with Rubio or not, he wasn't interested in talking about feelings or political theater. He wanted to talk about where taxpayer dollars are going and whether Americans are getting value for that spending. The bigger question is this: are voters tired of political grandstanding and looking for leaders who focus on results? That's the debate that seemed to emerge from this exchange, and it's one that's likely to continue long after this hearing ends.
May I respond?
You may sit.
Well, first of all, your regret for voting for me confirms I'm doing a good job, based on what I know.
Well, that's just a flippant statement, Mr. Secretary.
Can I respond, Mr. Chairman?
You may.
I didn't ask.
Senator, please let the Secretary have
I'd be happy to, but then I can respond to his.
Your time's up, Senator, and willfully used, I might add. Your remarks do not represent the view of this committee.
Well, Mr.
Secretary, please.
Well, I'd like to. I can't respond to everything he said because much of these are untrue, but I'll go through a few. First of all, I'm actually very proud of the work we've done with USAID. For example, I don't regret cutting $10 million for male circumcisions in Mozambique. I don't know how that makes us stronger and more prosperous as a nation. I don't regret psychosocial support services.
I raised Sudan, Mr. Secretary.
Can I respond,
Senator, I'd ask you to suspend. You had 7 straight minutes.
I chose to use my time that way, Mr. Chairman. That's my right to
Please
use
suspend
my time that way.
Secretary Rubio.
Well, I can go on. I mean, there's other things here. We spent $227,000 for Big Cat's YouTube channel from USAID. We spent $14 million for social cohesion in Mali, whatever the hell that means. So I can go on and on. I got the list here, and there's more. I didn't even bring the whole list. In the case of El Salvador, absolutely. Absolutely. We deported gang members, including the one you had a margarita with. And that guy is a human trafficker, and that guy is a gangbanger, and the evidence is going to be clear. In the days to come, you're going to see who you went to defend.
Senator,
I'm sorry,
please,
Mr.
Secretary
Chairman.
Rubio has the floor.
Mr. Chairman, he can't make unsubstantiated comments like that.
Secretary Rubio has the floor. You had
Secretary
your time.
Rubio should take that testimony to the federal court of the United States because he hasn't done it under oath.
Here's another point, okay? There is a division in our government between the federal branch and the judicial branch. No judge in the judicial branch cannot tell me or the president how to conduct foreign policy. No judge can tell me how I have to outreach to a foreign partner or what I need to say to them. And if I do reach to that foreign partner and talk to them, I have under no obligation to share that with the judiciary branch. Just like a judge cannot order me to negotiate with a foreign minister of Russia, they cannot order me to negotiate with a foreign minister or the president of El Salvador. And if I did negotiate with them, which we have responded to them, and And we've told them, we've had communications with the president of El Salvador. I am under no obligation, under our division of powers in this country, and to share with the judicial branch how I conducted diplomacy of the United States. It would actually be counterproductive. If I started sharing with courts, or frankly, with the media, my conversations with foreign leaders and all of their details, no foreign leader would talk to me again, and we would break trust with them. So I have complied with every court order. What I won't comply with is an order to disclose what I'm saying and what we're talking about with a foreign leader, because then they won't talk to me. Diplomacy doesn't work that way. About the student visas, let me say this. I don't deport anybody, and I don't snatch anybody. The State Department does not have officers in the street snatching everybody. What I do is revoke visas, and it's very simple. A visa is not a right. It is a privilege. People apply for student visas to come into the United States and study. And if you tell me that you're coming to the United States to lead campus crusades, to take over libraries and try to burn down buildings and acts of violence, we're not going to give you a visa.
Is that what Ms. Ostork did?
We're not going to give you a visa.
Is that what she did? Come on, Mr. Secretary.
And every single one of these cases, the factors are different.
Senator,
the bottom line is, if you're coming here to stir up trouble on our campuses, we will deny you a visa. And if you have a visa,
First Amendment apply to
we'll revoke
living in the United States?
And we're going to do more. There are more coming. We're going to continue to revoke the visas of people who are here as guests and are disrupting our higher education facilities. People are paying money. These kids pay money to go to school, and they have to walk through a bunch of lunatics
to the
who are here on student
newspapers
visas.
disrupting the foreign policy of the United States.
I want to do more. I hope we can find more of these people.
That's pathetic, Mr.
In fact, the other day, some guys led a riot. I forgot what university it was, and I asked, please, can you find the arrest records of all the people that were arrested at that riot at that campus? Because if any of them have a visa, we're going to revoke it.
I feel so much safer when you lock up people like Ms. Ostork, Ms. Secretary.
We've had enough time on this.
Just when it seemed like the hearing couldn't get any more intense, Marco Rubio delivered the moment that had everyone talking. If you're enjoying this breakdown so far, hit that like button and subscribe, because stories like this rarely get the full context in the headlines. One of the most contentious topics during the hearing was immigration and student visas. Rubio made it clear that he views visas as a privilege rather than an automatic entitlement. His argument was simple. If someone is admitted into the country under specific conditions, those conditions matter. That statement immediately sparked pushback, but Rubio didn't appear interested in softening his position. Instead, he doubled down, arguing that the government has both the authority and responsibility to enforce the standards attached to visa programs. Supporters will likely see this as a common-sense approach to immigration enforcement. Critics will argue that such policies must be balanced carefully with civil liberties and constitutional protections. What made the exchange so compelling was that neither side was willing to back down. It wasn't just a disagreement over policy. It was a clash between two completely different visions of how government should operate. And when those visions collide in a public hearing, the result is exactly what we witnessed: a political showdown that instantly grabbed national attention. Here's what may have been the most important moment of the entire exchange, and surprisingly, it wasn't the personal attacks, the interruptions, or even the sharp one-liners. Before I get into it, share your thoughts below. Who do you think made the stronger case during this hearing? I want to hear your perspective. The real battle was over power, specifically who gets to make decisions when it comes to foreign policy and national interests. Rubio argued that diplomacy requires flexibility and confidentiality. His position was that foreign policy decisions are primarily the responsibility of the executive branch, and that successful negotiations often depend on trust between governments. His critics, however, contend that oversight and accountability are essential safeguards in a constitutional system. They argue that transparency matters, especially when significant decisions affect public policy. This disagreement goes far beyond a single hearing. It touches on questions that have shaped American politics for generations. How much authority should government officials have? How much oversight is necessary? And where should the line be drawn? Those questions aren't going away anytime soon. What is certain is that this hearing delivered one of the most memorable confrontations of the year. Both men walked into the room determined to make their case, and neither showed any sign of backing down. If you found this analysis helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. The political battles happening in Washington today will shape the debates of tomorrow, and we'll be here to break down every major moment.